Alexander Carlos with the Alexander News Show, June 24, 2022, live from Miami, Florida, USA. And we're gonna get this show started. Hey, I have some questions to ask you. I'm with the Alexander News Show.
Who are you?
Alexander Carlos, Alexander News Show. How you doing? I'm a Trump supporter. Hi, everyone. This is Alexander Carlos. Welcome. We're live, Miami, Florida, USA. First of all, the phone number to text the show is 786-652-7240. And if you want to comment or you have a suggestion or anything you want to mention, insult, you can text the show. Okay, and also let's go ahead and put the and if you're a company and you want to sponsor the show, give some exposure because we got a big following and we're growing every day. You can text the show or you can email the show. AlexanderNewsShow@gmail.com. And again, questions, comments, if you're a viewer, insults, or if you're a company, you want to sponsor the show, email the show or phone or basically text the show. And follow us on Twitter, Alexander News Show at Alexander News SH. Twitter is the main place where I'm always putting information, stuff. I'm also on Instagram, Alexander News Show. And of course, Facebook is Alexander News Show. TikTok, Alexander News Show 23. I haven't been able to post it on the screen, but anyways, let's go ahead and let's discuss. We have a guest today. We have a guest. He's running for Broward County's Circuit Court Judge. His name is Mr. Chris Brown. He will be on the show. Chris Brown. He's running for Group 15. That's why I have this information down here, and I'm already. And the reason I have it is because I want you all to see a little bit about him, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try to see if I can actually. Let's see something. I'm gonna try to edit the information real quick here, but let's talk about inflation while I'm doing this. Let's talk about inflation. So I have, before I go any further, I have Mr. Chris Brown. He's running for Circuit Court Judge, and let me try to get his information here. Okay, so let's talk about inflation. What's the cause of inflation? It all started with Richard Nixon when he ended the gold standard. Let me see. He ended the gold standard, guys, and so that is a start. The gold standard was ended. That's enough. That's one thing that I wanted to mention. Hold on. I wanted to, okay, so he ended the gold standard. And then that's where it all began. Thank you, Richard Nixon. And then, of course, let's talk about, let's fast forward to 1990s. Bill Clinton was president. And we had a surplus. The second Bush came in. He started printing money. So money was started to print, and then we had the financial crisis, between the transition between Bush and Barack Obama. Obama took over. More money was printed. The national deficit went from a surplus. Clinton left it in a surplus. And I'm a Trump guy, by the way. I'm a Trump supporter. And I'm going to support DeSantis if he runs for president. And I know some people are like, how dare you? So, but then Obama came in, contributed, printed more money. Then Trump made a big mistake. One of his biggest mistakes. More money printed, more money added to the national deficit. So now he leaves, and then boom, Biden comes in. So Joe Biden comes in, and he decides to print even more money because of this pandemic. By the way, those of you that got the stimulus checks, hold on. Those of you that got the stimulus checks, how's that working out? All right, so I got his, okay, so I got Mr. Chris Brown's website up and running. All right, I'm sorry, I was a little distracted. I was keying the information on the graphics. So how has that worked out? The stimulus checks that you got, the PPP that you got. Anyways, this campaign, Chris Brown. All right, campaign, chrisbrown.com. You go to his website. He's running for circuit court judge, group 15. Okay? Civil, criminal. I think that's like how it's done. We're gonna talk with him, and we're gonna discuss it with him. Let me see, because I got the list of questions here that I'm going to ask Mr. Chris Brown. Very nice individual, by the way. He's been practicing law for 27 years. That's the reason why I'm actually doing this show, more than anything. So, okay, so I got the list of questions. We're going to talk a little bit. I really don't know much about Broward County. Because I've been so focused and hung on Miami-Dade, and I'll eventually get into Broward. But let's talk about this inflation. So Biden has, they issued all these stimulus checks. Trump contributed to one stimulus check, if I'm not mistaken, and one PPP. And he started that. But then Biden gave a couple of more stimulus checks and more PPP and more money, more money, more money. So what's happening is basically, I had something in my ear. It was itching me. Sorry. So Biden, all this money, and the Democrats are in control of the Senate. I know it's split evenly, but they control the Senate, the House. What's happening is now we have this inflation, and it's been going on for the last few months. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, listen. This is not going to get better. This is going to get worse. And I promise you, I'm trying to put my microphone together. I promise you, it's not going to get better. Yeah, you see gas prices going down a little bit. Don't kid yourselves. Don't let that fool you, okay? It's only temporary, all right? It'll go back up. We're going to listen, wait till the summer comes. Wait until July comes, and wait until there's a hurricane and it hits the Gulf. You're going to be seeing gas prices, $6 a gallon, regular unleaded. So, I already explained to you, and we don't do lazy talk shows. You have to rewind back. And then I also had the last talk show was about a week and a half ago. Basically, yes, I'm going to have a regular schedule. My plan is to either do it on Monday or Tuesday, late mornings, either 11 or 12 noon, maybe like lunchtime. Because that's the time that all of you are on lunch. Maybe you can tune into the show live. What's great about this is it's digital, so you can listen to the show anytime you want, even in your sleep, when you're getting ready to go to sleep. But so, like I said, we're paying back the stimulus money that we got, all of us, including myself. PPP, if you were given PPP loan forgiveness, well, guess what? You still have to pay it back. And that is thank you in part to the Richard Nixon, the gold standard being ended, the second Bush, Obama, Trump, and they all contributed to this. And now Biden. Anyway, so there's talk. The dollar is not worth $1. It's probably worth, my guess, 50 cents. So now there's talk of China and Russia, the BRICS, South Africa. Look it up, BRICS, BRICS, and Brazil, creating a reserve currency. And it's going to happen. And then, of course, you got this cryptocurrency going on. I'm going to try to bring a financial expert onto the show. I'm working on that. But anyway, in a couple of minutes, Mr. Chris Brown will be joining us, and we're going to talk Broward County judicial system, a little bit about law. We're going to have some fun with Mr. Chris Brown. His information is on the screen, ladies and gentlemen. Anyways, listen, follow the show. All the information is down here. And by the way, if you got a question, by the way, and I forgot to mention, you can also comment on the chat board below the screen. You can ask Mr. Chris Brown anything you want. Broward County is Fort Lauderdale, Florida, by the way. Coral Springs, Davie, Miramar. And it starts from Miramar, goes all the way up to like Pompano Beach. That's, I think, is one of the last communities, one of the last cities. And it's the same way Miami-Dade operates. You could be a civil judge one moment, and then another moment you get transferred to become a criminal judge. Civil criminal. That's how it works. And you get elected to a 6-year term, by the way. So, and I was introduced, just to be fair, I was introduced to Mr. Chris Brown by, he was on the show, attorney Gary Collin. So we're waiting for him to come on the show. Let me see if I can, I'm going to basically, let's wait and see. So yeah, China and Russia are working on creating a reserve currency, which is pretty messed up for the dollar. We're in the worst financial crisis since the Great Depression. Make no mistake about that. Mr. Chris Brown's there. Oh, awesome. But anyway, so we'll get back to the inflation talk. Mr. Chris Brown, how you doing, sir?
Very good. Thank you for having me on. Very nice to be on your show.
Thank you for coming on. I was talking a little bit about you, but I want to first do the intro, sir.
Okay.
Let's get that going, and then we'll have some fun.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Alexander News Show. And we have, and I believe he will win. There are some polls out there that are showing him in the lead. Mr. Chris Brown, welcome to the Alexander News Show.
Thank you. Thank you. Very glad to be here.
So I was introduced to you by Mr. Gary Collin.
Right.
And I said, I didn't even think twice about this. I was like, heck yeah, I want to bring him on the show. So, Mr. Chris Brown, I'm going to just throw this at you real quick. So, before I go any further, it's on the ticker.
Right.
CampaignChrisBrown.com is the website.
Yes.
Anything you want to know about Mr. Chris Brown, about this Broward Judicial Court judge race, Group 15, correct me if I'm wrong,
right,
is on the website.
Yes.
So, tell me a little bit. First question I want to ask you, let's kick this going. What inspired you to run for Broward County Court Judge, Group 15?
Well, I've been a practicing lawyer in Broward County for 37 years with my wife, Mindy Brown. I enjoy helping people. I've done it. I enjoy the practice of law. My business has basically been helping people. I have a variety of different clients from different backgrounds with various reasons for coming in. And I get enjoyment out of that, helping people. At this point, I want to extend that to the entirety of Broward County. I think I can help the judicial system. The county court position is what's referred to as a people's court. So you have people in there sometimes without lawyers. They don't understand the system. And I think that's where it's a good fit for me to come in and use my natural tendency to try to help people move things along. And it would be a great fit for me. So I'm really looking forward to the opportunity to do it and reaching out to all of Broward County for their support.
So it is a 6-year term. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Do you believe so? You're going to win. You get elected. Boom. Do you get to decide if you go to civil or criminal? Who gets to decide that?
The chief judge does that decision. My background, I've had a variety of backgrounds. So I've had jury trials in county court, circuit court, even federal court. I've argued appellate decisions between the fourth DCA and the third DCA. So I have a varying background. So I am suited to wherever they want me to serve would be fine. But it really be at that discretion where the judge in the seat would be needed. It could be criminal and it could be civil. Most likely, it would be in the civil arena.
What do you prefer?
Actually, my either one would be okay with me. I do love civil. I've been around civil a lot of times. There's a lot of people coming in with disputes, contract, and small claims. Just help them through there. But also, I've done the scariest trial I ever done was a jury trial in the criminal court. It was a felony. My client was completely innocent. So I knew if I lost that trial, an innocent man would go to prison. So that was the scariest trial. So criminal is a little scarier sometimes. County court, you're dealing with misdemeanors, DUIs, traffic tickets, things like that. So they're not that serious, and there is an opportunity to help people that come in before you. So either one would be fine.
So my second question is, please tell me. So tell me a little bit about yourself and your 27 years history. 27 years practicing law.
Right. Well, the first thing about me, I've been married 37 years to my wife, Mindy Brown. And
Awesome.
that's been a great present. I'm a big believer in marriage. I support marriage. I've done a lot of law. I've done family law. I've done civil litigation. I've done injury law. And I've done a variety of other things for clients that need help. So, like I said, I've been inside the courtroom in the federal court system, the county court system, and the circuit court system. My biggest thing about me, what about me is my personal life. We lived in Broward County for 34 years. We raised three children in Broward County. The youngest child was a special needs child. And if you ever been around children with special needs, you understand they really are a blessing. And you learn a
I'm a
lot.
special needs therapist, by the way,
Okay. All right.
as well. That's my
So
first career, and
right.
I'm a talk show host.
Right. No, when you deal with these children and the families, at any age, the tremendous affection they show, their life spirit that they have, and it's really amazing. So, it taught me and my wife were both attorneys. She had serious medical issues, so we had to navigate the healthcare system and how difficult that is. And without an advocate in the healthcare system, it is really hard to get good healthcare. Even the same person with the same insurance, same resources, you just need an advocate, a spouse, a wife, a family member. And that's what makes the difference in the health system. So it's basically taught me the struggles each family goes through in Broward County and the different levels that they do. But it's also taught me the spirit of people because you see people interact with your family. And just as an example, when she graduated high school with a special degree, the students at Plantation High School gave her a standing ovation, which was very touching. And it showed you the young people and the commitment they make just to recognize the special nature of every human life. And it really touches your heart and it gives you hope because you read the headlines, you get fearful. But then you go in and you see people doing different things, Special Olympics, Make-A-Wish Foundation. We've always been involved in that with our families.
I read that you're a supporter of that. You've helped them a lot.
More than a supporter. My wife, Mindy Brown, she won the award for the Volunteer of the Year throughout the whole nation and for Make-A-Wish. And it was a beautiful ceremony.
Great organization, great nonprofit.
The stories and the
One of the
impact
best.
they have, it's absolutely. And that kind of experience, teaches. I always said, Sandy taught me more about life than I've ever learned from law school, books, anyone else. Second to that, my wife obviously taught me a lot after 37 years. So that's always good.
I'll tell you, yes, I can relate. I'm married myself, but
Right.
and I can definitely relate with you with special needs as well. Um, so what are some of your biggest cases practicing as an attorney? Which case, first of all, what's your biggest case ever?
Well, this is the thing. My cases are all the same. They're people with issues. So I'm proud of helping individuals. So whether it's family law, where you're ensuring that parents have to a healthy relationship with their children, or whether it's civil litigation, you have an injured person that gets, the medical needs they need, or it's just someone struggling financially and they're able to get that resolved. So all those cases are the cases that I consider the big cases. That's what I do. They're
Okay,
aggregate. There's really no earth-shattering case where the law was changed or something was major. I mean, I represent the people. So to each individual, it was a major part of their life. But to me, it was a long line of helping people. So the aggregate is what I stand on. All of my cases were pretty much cases where you say people were helped, but nothing where you would read in the headlines. None of my cases made the headlines. I had to appeal a couple of cases, but nothing major, just some errors made at the trial court. But for the most part, I just stand on helping people and moving cases and helping individuals.
well, okay, so I'll throw this one at you. Which case are you proudest of?
You're going to get the same answer actually, because I'm actually proud to help people. I mean, when a client
That's
tells
awesome.
they tell, I can just tell you just the other day, some lady came in, with the real estate market the way it is. I mean, people are doing stuff. She was engaged in a real estate transaction. It was way over her head that she was given some false information, but she put down $5,000 deposit. But that was her life savings. The deal went bad and they wanted to keep her 5,000. So I got involved and I got a negotiated resolution for her. And then she tried to insist on paying me. And this is a lady who has nothing, just got a little bit of money back, right? And she was so appreciative. So that really, to me, that kind of case is what I put up there at the top. I didn't charge her a fee. I did it what lawyers say pro bono. We just help people. We do it. We don't charge a fee. Because
That's
how do you
awesome.
charge someone something
That's
like that?
great.
So that gives me great pleasure to do that. And that's not on the bottom line. I mean, my law office, we've never been about the bottom line here. I mean, I've had clients, and especially in family law, they can't pay their bill. I continue to represent them. And I end up, basically saying, okay, fine, we'll do something, writing off large bills and things like that. I mean, I'm not in it about the money for the money. I'm not a quitter. I'm in for the fight. So, that sort of helps them too because I stay with them and I don't walk away.
Well, so basically, let's change gears a little bit here. Tell me about your other contender opponents who are you're running against. What makes you different from them? Obviously, one part, and obviously, I know they care about the community as well. You also care, but it seems like from what you're saying and you sound like you, and I can tell you care more.
Right, right.
Tell me about your opponents that you're
No,
going up
I,
against.
I really do believe that's what makes me stand out. Um, you can assume there's three people in our race. I'm one of the three. I'm actually in the middle. On the ballot, I'll be in the middle on the names. You can pretty much assume that all the people running for judge, and I pretty much know all of them, meet the minimum requirements to be a judge. The minimum requirements, so you can have one of my opponents is a little younger. She has less experience, but she's looking to do the same thing I am, help Broward County. They want to do that, but they're just not ready for the bench. Another opponent, probably a little more politically involved, knows some of the political landscape. Again, I think I stand out because of who I am, what I do as a person. Um, the problem is most people in Broward County, they don't really know the judges. So they look at the ballot and you say, I
That's why
want
we're doing this show.
exactly. So I'm telling, and when I reach out and I got organizations, I go and I talk to them, condos, and we go out and talk and just try to educate people to say, look, this is Chris Brown, but this is the person that's on the ballot. This is who I am. This is what I'm about. So that's very important, and your show is very important in everywhere. So
Thank you.
try to do that, to get out there just to meet people, and really because we want to avoid where someone looks at a ballot and just tries to choose a name. I've always said that I'd rather ballots for judges be judge person number one, person number two, and then the ballot saying I don't have enough information on either one of those guys.
By the way, and it's perfectly fine with me and with the show and the viewers, we're not going to mention their names.
Okay.
Because what matters is that I could tell. I already picked up on that. You
Right.
didn't mention their names. You just said this young lady.
Right.
What matters here is Mr. Chris Brown and
Chris Brown.
campaignchrisbrown.com.
Right.
What is your vision for the court? You're going to get in there. You're going
Right.
to be, like I like to say sometimes, the man.
Right.
What's your vision?
Well, this is the
What
thing.
would you like to change
Right.
if you can't change anything?
Remember, I've been in courtrooms in federal court, circuit court, county court. So I've been before
Yes.
judges that were great judges. I've been from judges that aren't so great. And I know the difference. And basically, the courtroom needs to have respect. An individual's area, I don't know if whoever's been involved in court, sometimes we are, sometimes we're not. Could be in a civil matter, even a traffic ticket. You go there, you don't really know what to expect. But the last thing you want to do is be disrespected. So you have to be respected. You have to be given an opportunity to be heard. I mean, that's all people want. You may have an argument with your neighbor, and he has one perspective, you have another perspective, but you want someone to listen to your story.
Exactly. Whether it's a plaintiff or a defendant, it doesn't matter.
Exactly. Absolutely the point. And especially in the county court, because you have people unrepresented by attorneys, they may not know the rules, they may not know the procedures, but basically you're there to tell the story. So you have to be an inviting environment in your courtroom. You have to give litigants, even with lawyers, you got to give the opportunity to be heard. You want to hear my case, and then you're going to make a decision. And the decision is somebody's going to walk out we're thinking they won the case. Somebody's going to walk out thinking they lost their case. But what you can give as a judge, that environment, so they get to be heard. If you're not heard, right, then you don't buy into the system. And I do believe the systems that we have in this country is the best system in the world. It has some issues.
I agree.
You know what they are, and I know what they are.
Not perfect, but it's the best one in the world.
Exactly.
Nothing's perfect.
And when someone criticizes the system, I say, well, tell me what country works better, and I'll take a look at it. Now, that doesn't mean we have mistakes. I'm not a perfect person. Everybody has that. So that's
I'm not perfect either.
Right. So that's important. So, you just got to give people the opportunity to be heard. And that's why I'm reaching out to all people in Broward County, every single community. I mean, I've got endorsed by the Hispanic vote in Broward County. Everywhere I go,
You got endorsed by a police association.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that. Let's tell our viewers about that.
Right. Well, this is the thing. A long time ago, I was actually a correctional officer. So I'm a member. I was a member of the CBA. Yeah. So I had a little bit of that background. And I tell everybody the story. Oh, I met my wife when I was a correctional officer. So they stop for a minute. They say, oh, what was she in for? But no, she was a correctional officer also. And then later on, she went to law school, and so did I. So,
that's very unique, Mr. Chris Brown.
Right.
You don't get that many judges that have been correction officers.
Right. So it's a little bit of law enforcement, a little bit. So you understand the human element, and you see human nature, and you see what people are going through that are actually charged with crimes. Obviously, you know the other side, and you know what police officers have to deal with. So,
Absolutely.
It's tough. And what police unions are there for is they help the officer in their support system. So IUPA is one of those associations that are for officers and people in the police. So I think it's really good. My other opponent, like I said, was political. You can get these appointments through political connections or just they don't really interview each person and make a recommendation. The interview that I did just this Tuesday was with the Sun Sentinel. And the Sun Sentinel would interview all three candidates, and they'll make a recommendation to the voters of Broward County. So I'm hoping that decision comes down in my favor. They're supposed to be posting this weekend on that, so I'm anticipating.
And I'll be looking for that, and I'm going to put it on my Twitter.
Right.
Alexander News SH on Twitter.
Right.
For sure.
Really good. So obviously the outreach to the communities is very, very important to me. Because in the same token, if you don't feel that you were a part of the process, then you're not going to buy into it. And the people of Broward County, judges are elected, and that was on the ballot a couple years ago, and the people in Florida decided they still want to elect judges. And I
which is the
every
best thing to do.
right, and everybody I run into when I see someone and what you're doing, you know, they actually make the effort to go out and get to know the candidates and get, you know, if you don't know them directly, you may reach out to a lawyer friend or somebody else with the courts and say, well, who are these candidates? What are they? And a lot of the communities are reaching out doing that now, and you see it more and more. And I think that's really helpful, you know, for candidates to really get their message out of who they are. Judges are non-political, meaning we're not supported by political parties.
Of
We're
course.
excluded from even saying what political parties we are. Political
Of
parties
course.
aren't allowed to
Yes.
help us because you don't want your judge to be a member of a team sport. You want your judge to play it down the middle, play it fair. So then you say, okay, without that, what is your platform? Who are you? And it's really basically trying to tell people what you're about and who you are.
It's
And
nonpartisan.
right, nonpartisan, and you got to be able to say, okay, if I was going in this guy's courtroom, would I feel comfortable him listening to my story and making a decision? And that's the type of judge you want on the bench. And hopefully that'll be what I will be. That actually what I would be.
I mean, off the record, I could ask you personally if I was very good friends with you, are you a Democrat or Republican? And you'll tell me. But that's your secret. That's your secret.
Yeah, that
It
is.
doesn't matter in this race because it's nonpartisan, and it doesn't matter in this interview because I
Right.
got Democrats and I got Republicans and independents that are viewing this show now, and mainly, of course, more people because this is digital, and you can watch this anytime you want. And I'm also going to put clips on it on my Twitter and on my Facebook and stuff like that. Is there anything you would like to add in regards to this election? And what date is the election, by the way?
The election is going to be in August. I think the actual date is August 23rd is the actual election. Early
There's
voting
early voting, yeah.
Early voting starts August 13th, and that'll be a week. And we'll have a team of people out at the polls handing out literature. And I'm telling all my volunteers, hey, if someone doesn't want to be approached, just thank them and move away. Because, you know, everybody's there handing you their card. So they want to be, try to say, okay, here, this is who I am.
I
So
don't
we're
know
going
if I can ask this. You don't have to answer. Is there a specific area of Broward that you are targeting?
Actually, I'm actually, because I'm not a political machine. I actually believe that every community in Broward needs to be a part of it. So I will go anywhere. I will talk to anybody and anywhere in the community. Obviously, very important to me, everybody's vote. What happens in elections, about 24 to 27% of the registered voters come out in a midterm election. So of the Reds, that's a small group. And what really happens is a lot of the condominium associations actually have meetings and they invite the candidates in there. So these guys are people that vote all the time. They're actually engaged. So they're easier to reach sometimes than going into like a neighborhood or another community. You know, if I get invited to any church or a synagogue or anything like that, I go to the Chamber of Commerce, anywhere where I can actually meet people, I will go and talk to them. But I'm a big believer that it's a complete election. Broward County has a lot of people, and it's sometimes when you actually realize how
I
many
believe
people,
1.8 million.
right, and you just can't reach everybody. So we rely on people like you that educate
Of
communities on really
course.
what's going on. So I know I'm not limiting to any particular communities.
Who's your inspiration in the judicial community? Who do you look up to? Who's your mentor?
Well, I'm going to say my wife because I've been married 37 years and she happens to
Of
be a lawyer.
course.
But I've been, before a lot of judges. My first trial, I was before Judge Jeffrey Streifelt, who was a very knowledgeable, very educated judge and a very respectful judge. And as a new lawyer, not really understanding the process, knowing that I had a judge that knew the law, would follow the law, and not be partisan or play games with favoritism to a judge, a lawyer that may have been around for 37 years, something like that. That was very helpful. Judge Birkin, who was a very reasonable judge in family law, when another lawyer tried to do a personal tax, he would stop and say, wait a minute, we're not going to do that in this courtroom. So all these things that these judges do are very good. Judge Marty Dishowitz, a very good friend of ours, he's a retired judge, lives in our neighborhood. I've had a jury trial with him in county court, landlord tenant, very respectful judge, heard all the evidence, gave us a very fair and good trial. So it's really all these judges and all these people are really there. They all stand out. But obviously, I'm choosing my wife 37 years so I can be married another 37 years. She's taught me a lot.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing because that's a beautiful thing to say, but it's
Oh, yeah.
funny, you know.
Right.
Um, I don't know if that can throw this. We're about to end the show. We're winding it down, but I wanted to throw this. I'm not sure if it's fair to ask. I'm gonna kind of put you on the spot, but
Okay.
who is your favorite from past, present? You don't have to say present, but more like the past history. Favorite Supreme Court justice of all time?
That's
If I
interesting.
can ask that.
Well, I definitely have favorites, and I definitely understand the question. The problem, I can't get into the politics of it, and that
No,
would.
of course, I don't want you
I
to do
can
that.
tell
No.
you. Let me tell you about what my criteria is. One, the county court judge, we don't make policy. So we're not like appellate courts or Supreme Court judge. We just interpret, follow the law as the people in Broward County in the United States. So I think a judge that would read what the people have passed as far as their laws and understand that they're bound by those laws and understand that I do not have the freedom just because I'm elected judge to decide cases to change the law. So, but I have to do that. So I think judges that adhere to fairness, the community, and
Well
follow the
said.
law are going to be on my list of very good judges at any level.
Well said. And do you have a favorite city? I mean, what's your hometown in? You don't have to say it, but what's your hometown in Broward?
I live in Plantation. We lived in Plantation 34 years. I love Plantation. I love South Florida. If you can't be happy in South Florida, there's nowhere you can go to be
Nothing
happy.
like South Florida,
It is the greatest
but I'm
community.
biased. I'm Miami.
My wife was born in Miami. Actually, I was a correctional officer in Miami. So I actually lived in Miami and we moved up. I lived on Carl Way. We were down the road from the youth fair. I went to FIU, Florida National University,
Oh,
and I went
beautiful.
to University of Miami. So, but
So you're about the U.
I'm the U. That's right, the U. And we're looking forward to a good year this year. I mean, we're all happy about the football program where they're going. So I'm definitely, I love South Florida. I go to the hockey games in Broward. I mean, there's just so much to do here. There's so much diversity and entertainment and people. It's just the perfect place to raise your family and thrive.
You're a hockey fan. You're a big hockey fan.
You know what? I didn't really know hockey. I can't even tell you the rules, but I go to the games and I love the game. For some reason, I like it. And it's very convenient for us to go to the games. And I love hockey actually,
Do
but I
you
can't
think
tell you
that?
what the rules are.
Do you think the Panthers can win a title? They had a great team this year. They
They have a
choked.
great team.
Do you think they have a chance to win next year the Stanley Cup? The Stanley Cup.
I thought they were going to do it this year. It was a
What
little bit.
happened? What do you think happened to them?
I do not know. I guess Tampa just has the number, and it's just hard to. There's just certain teams you just can't beat. I don't know why, and I was just surprised the way it ended. But I know it's a great team, a great group of guys, and I know they're going to be back, and it's just a fun sport to watch.
That's Broward's team, the Panthers. Out of the 4 or 5 sports franchises, major sports teams, national teams like national different
Right.
sports, the Panthers belong to Broward. I'm sorry, Miami-Dade, even though I'm
Well, I
biased.
started in Miami, so I was actually there in Miami when they
Oh
won.
yeah. When they were throwing the rats to the,
Yeah, we love that.
but now it's Broward's for sure.
It's Broward's, and it's in a very good location. Like I said, I go to the games, and
Oh, I
I'm out
love the
there in
location.
5 minutes, so it's
I
uh,
love the location.
it's a great location.
One last thing before I let you go, can you tell me a little bit about your practice, Mr. Chris Brown?
Okay, yeah. I practice, like I said, I do about a third civil litigation, civil disputes like that. I do about a third family law, injury law, and everything else. So I represented The family law court is the toughest sometimes because the lawyers sometimes get combative. You know, you can get the wrong lawyer in a family law court and you can have a lot of problems. Okay, because lawyers identify with their clients a little too much and they buy into it. And about, I hate to say it, but if you give lawyers a large retainer, sometimes they're going to use all that money. And really, I'm a problem. See, I'm my
Wow.
background. I had an undergraduate degree in computer science. I'm actually a problem solver, so I'm results oriented. So I want to see the results and not so much the battle. You sometimes you got to do what you got to do, but I'm saying, okay, where do we end here? So family law is a part of that. Civil litigation, bankruptcies, I've helped people with. Civil litigation, disputes between people over contracts, and then of course I've done a couple of criminal cases, but that was very early on in my career. So very diverse background.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Chris Brown
Yeah,
pretty much he's like the doctor. He does a little bit of everything in law.
right,
And that's what separates him. And if also the fact that he's very caring,
right,
was a correctional officer, can relate with law enforcement, gives back to the community with the major organizations like Make a Wish,
right.
got has the endorsement of a major police organization union,
Right.
one of the biggest around. Am I correct? One of the biggest in the entire United States.
I'm not sure the sizes of the different associations, but they're all very good.
But
They
they're
all
major and they're legit. So one of
and
the legit ones.
right. And we support, even though I'm not endorsed, I do support other police unions, and
Of
it's not a
course.
problem for me.
No, of course, for sure. Me too. I mean, definitely. That's not
Right,
even to be debated. CampaignChrisBrown.com.
right.
Anything you want to say before we end the show?
No, I just want
Anything
to
you
thank
want to
your
add?
viewers. I want to thank your viewers for listening and giving me the opportunity to say what my campaign's about, and I appreciate their support. And if they don't know about the election, they go to my website. I do have a link to the supervisor
Right on
election.
the screen.
Right.
Right on the screen. And I'm going to put it out there in the social media, my social media platform. And the great thing about YouTube, and it's nothing against the sunset. No,
Right.
we still need it.
Right.
Nobody buys newspapers anymore. Everybody goes digital
Right.
or news stations. I mean, I hope they call you, but this is the future. This is current right now. The future YouTube channel.
And you're a
And
part
Mr.
of it, so that's great.
Thank you, sir. And I thank you for appearing on the Alexander News Show. And I wish you success. And I listen, Mr. Chris Brown. I hope you invite me to your party
Yeah, my victory party. You're definitely invited.
because I want to go.
Thank you. Thank you. I would love to have you there.
Definitely. So, Mr. Chris Brown, thank you for appearing on the show.
Thank you very much.
And much success to you because you're going to win this election.
Thank you.
Have a great one, sir.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Chris Brown. We're going to take a quick break. Come back and wrap the show up. I've got some thoughts I want to make more about the inflation and abortion. Hey, I have some questions to ask you. I'm with the Alexander News Show.
Who are you?
Alexander Carlos, Alexander News Show. How you doing? I'm a Trump supporter. So welcome back. Please hit the bell for notifications, subscribe to the channel, like, share, and follow the show. Slam that like button. Great interview, Mr. Chris Brown. So you got his information. But let's talk about you. If you want to look at the interview, just click back, just push back. So fantastic interview. Seems and sounds like a very nice individual. Comes from a family. And I didn't mention the other candidates because I'm not going to give them, and he's not, and he's very smart for doing that too. And I picked up on that. Any airtime. This is about Chris Brown, and campaignchrisbrown.com is the website. So, ladies and gentlemen, and also follow the social media platform here. I'm going to be putting his information on all my platforms and clips of the video. I'll try to see if I can do at least two, but if not, for sure one, but I'm going to get a good one. So, Mr. Chris Brown, you see his picture right there, right now. But let's talk about the decrepit. By the way, the judges' race is nonpartisan. But let's talk about the decrepit 145-year-old Joe Biden. And he wants to temporarily do a gas tax holiday. And I'm going to tell you why that's a bad idea. The reason it's a bad idea, sorry, my mic fell, is because that tax is what pays for our to better our nation's roads, bridges, and it's just a horrible. And our roads are in terrible shape. And please, I don't want to talk about the infrastructure. I had a show about this, the infrastructure bill that was passed. There was news that came out the other day that because of this inflation, a lot of the roads that were planned to be built are not going to be built anymore. By the way, I want to mention it's not going to be built anymore because it's inflation raised the cost of the materials and everything that's going on, and there's a supply chain issue. So if you had, let's say, I'm just going to throw a number, 2,000 bridges that were going to be rebuilt, you may only have 1,400 bridges that are going to be rebuilt. And it's just a horrible bill because this infrastructure bill only gives about 150 billion dollars out of that 1.1 trillion, I believe it is, or 1.2 trillion to build roads and bridges. So you take out the gas tax temporarily, it's going to save drivers at the pump. It's going to save me about 15 cents a gallon. It's going to give me 15 cents more per gallon. I guess it helps a little bit, but what helps is open up the Keystone Pipeline. The moment you do that, the market is going to respond positively to it, and the prices of natural gas and petroleum will go down. Price of oil, the cost per barrel will go down. You do that. So this inflation is caused because they want to put this pandemic. I told you why it is extremely high, this inflation. And by the way, raising interest rates is not the solution. The solution is, and that's why I want to get a financial expert, and I'm going to work on that. That's going to be one of my next interviews, and I've got a couple of other interviews lined up. The solution is let the market, the private sector, determine the interest rate. The Fed has no business raising and determining the interest rates. So you raise the interest rates, that's going to create a recession. And is inflation going to go down because the Fed decides to raise interest rates? Okay, I asked that question. Inflation will go down just a little bit. It's still going to be high. And it's going to be worse than what it is now. Like I said, this is the worst financial situation this country and the world has ever had. Because we run, until China takes over, the entire financial system of the entire world. Because now we're in a global economy. The worst since the Great Depression. So no, the gas tax holiday is a bad idea because it's going to take away from building roads and maintaining our roads and bridges. And it's horrible. That's a bad move. Open up Keystone Pipeline. Open up more federal land for oil drilling. And the Gulf of Mexico as well. And so, yeah, this inflation it's going to go down just a little bit with the interest rates going up. By the way, if you were going to raise interest rates, it should have been done 2 years ago, before Biden became president. It should have been done. and it was not done. So this Jerome Powell dude and all the other empty suits and empty skirts in the Fed board, governor's board, Fed, they're horrible. So let's talk about abortion, because I feel bad about this inflation. I'm scared about it. I'll be honest with you. And it has nothing to do with, well, I believe in God. I believe in God, and I'm a big believer in God. Listen, it's nothing to do with that. The government, the political hacks, and the top 1%ers, and the world political people, all the countries around the world caused this inflation. Okay? And again, let the market, let the private sector, let the financial institutions decide the interest rate, not the Fed. So let's talk about abortion. What's my view? Well, I believe a woman's right should choose. A woman should choose. That's my opinion. And I'm a Trump supporter. I believe a woman should have a right to choose whether she wants to carry the baby or not. Now, if you ask me, is there anything wrong with thinking like that? No. I mean, I'm a Christian and I'm a believer in God, but you can't force somebody. You can't grab somebody by their hand and So, mainly, if a woman gets raped, if a girl that's 12 years old has a baby, mainly that's where I believe, then she should have the ability to get an abortion. If you're married and you have a child, and the child is, you have some tough circumstances, I believe a woman should have the choice to have the abortion, to abort the child if it threatens her life, or if it threatens her physically, if it is going to mess the child up for life, the woman should have the right. And I'm a Trump supporter. I'm a Republican, and I believe in this. I believe this is a bad decision if the Supreme Court decides to overturn Roe versus Wade. Something like that. That's how it is. I guess that's the name of it. It's a horrible decision, but if you ask me, a woman should have a right to choose. Come on, it's not a shock. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't carry water coolers for anybody. It's nonpartisan. This show is nonpartisan. Democrat, Republican. Even though I'm a Trump supporter and I like Trump and I hate these radical leftists, they may be family people, but their culture and their ideology, political ideology, is horrible. So anyways, this is the Alexander News Show. And I thank you for watching. You can tune back this show. You can play it back, and we'll be back next week. And I'm going to try to either do it on Monday or Tuesdays, one day a week, this show. And Alexander News Show is growing, and I got some guests coming up. But I thank you for watching. You all have a great rest of your day and a great weekend. This is Alexander Carlos.